everyone. Hope you are all doing fine. So today we will discuss the remaining topic, that is the particle nature. Two things we have discussed, that is photoelectric effect and black body radiation. Specific capacity of solid, it is not in your textbook syllabus. Now we are moving on to the detailed part of this atomic spectrum. Okay, now we will see what the atomic spectrum mainly for hydrogen atom and hydrogen-like species. Okay, so when we talk about atomic spectrum, you know what is a spectrum, isn't it? That means when white light is passed through a prism, for example, when white light is passed through a prism, we get the 7 colors, that is the VIBGYOR, which comes under the visible region. Isn't it? Visible region. The wavelength is from 450 nanometer to 750 nanometer. So when white light is passed through this prism, we will get this VIBGYOR, and how you will get? You will get it as 7 colors, isn't it? 7 colors, and the red, which is having the longest or the largest wavelength, the longest wavelength will deviated less, and the violet, which is having a shortest wavelength, will get deviated more. But see, in this case of this spectrum, we call it as a spectrum, isn't it? Now, if you analyze this spectrum, you can say this is a continuous spectrum. Continuous spectrum, why you say it's a continuous spectrum? See, you cannot differentiate the boundary of, for example, violet, after violet indigo, after indigo blue, then with G, then green, okay, then white, then yellow, then orange, red. So there is no distinct boundary between these colors, which means that one color is merged with the other color. That means the violet color is getting merged with the indigo. There is no distinct boundary, or there is no VIBGYOR as a part and indigo as another part, which is separated by some space. So that is called as a continuous spectrum. So in fact, this spectrum can be classified, mainly broadly we can classify into continuous spectrum and discontinuous spectrum. Why continuous in the sense? Continuous in the sense means what? Like this VIBGYOR, that is the spectrum we get from the white light. That is, there is no boundary. One is that is one is with VIBGYOR and violet and indigo. They are merging. There is no distinct boundary between this violet color and the indigo color. So such a spectrum is called as a continuous spectrum. So you got what is continuous spectra. Now again it is classified as discontinuous spectra. Now you know, if this is continuous spectra, what is discontinuous spectra? The lines are discontinuous, isn't it? That means these two lines are separated by space. So that is called as discontinuous spectra. It is not continuous as in the case of white light spectra with VIBGYOR. Okay. Now in this discontinuous spectra, we have to study this, that is the discontinuous spectrum, that is the emission spectrum and the absorption spectrum. Okay, now actually we are studying the atomic spectra in detail about the hydrogen atom. The atomic spectra of hydrogen atom, which cannot be proved by the wave theory, but the Planck's quantum theory is getting into it, right? Okay, now we will now study about what is emission spectra and what is absorption spectra. And you know, these two spectra are discontinuous in nature. Okay, now we will see one by one what is emission spectra and what is absorption spectra. Okay, now see, when you know, when matter gets interacted with this radiation, what happens? These atoms and molecules in this matter will absorb the energy from the radiation, isn't it? That means if matter and radiation interacts, what happens? The atoms and molecules in the matter will absorb the energy from the radiation, which we have dealt with that, HU. They will absorb the energy from the radiation, and what will happen? In this spectrum, these atoms will absorb the energy and then it will go into a higher energy level. Okay, that we will see later. And in the higher energy level, what happens? It is unstable in nature, because it is high energy means less stable. Then what happens? Then as a result of this instability, it will bounce back to its ground state or its original position by emitting the absorbed radiation. So that is the simple concept of this absorption and emission spectra, which we will study in detail. Okay. Now we will see what is emission spectra and what is absorption spectra. Okay. See, emission spectra means something is emitted. That means the radiations are emitted from a substance or an atom or a molecule. Okay. So when this will happen? When some amount of energy is absorbed by that thing, then what happens? As I said, it will go to a higher energy level. Being the unstable in higher energy level, it will bounce back into the lower energy level. Okay. For a simple sketch, I will say, if this is the ground, we will say the ground state. Okay. The ground state is the stable state. Now, if there is an electrode in the ground state, what happens? Now some energy is absorbed if we heat it. Okay, if you heat it or if you give energy to it, by means of radiation or by heating it, this will absorb energy and it will go into a higher energy level. Okay, for example, if this is E1 and if this is E2, say this absorption of energy will go into the higher energy level. It can also go into the another higher energy level, that one we will see later. Okay. Now, when this happens in higher energy level, this is less stable. Okay, now what happens? This is absorbed and it went to a higher energy level. When this emission happens, after absorption, once it gets into an excited, this is called as an excited state. Okay, this is called as a ground state, that is stable. Excited state means they are unstable in nature. Now, once it gets into an excited state, the electrons in the atom, what happens? This definitely is unstable, so it will bounce back to its original position by emitting this absorbed radiation. Listen, by emitting this absorbed radiation, and the spectra you get by that emission is called as emission spectra. You got it? The radiation which is emitted by that substance. How it gets emitted, that is again another concept. When something is absorbed only, then it will get emitted, right? So that is here. When first of all, the electron has to be absorbed some energy and get into an excited state. So we know that the excited state, it is unstable, highly unstable in nature. Now what happens? It cannot be there. It has to be in the stable state. So what happens? It will come back to its position, original position, by emitting that absorbed radiation. So such spectrum which is obtained by the emission of this radiation, which is absorbed, that is the second part, which is absorbed by, it is emitted. So that emission, the radiation of that emission is called as, you will get it as a spectrum. If a photographic plate is there, or a spectrometer or a spectrograph is there, then you will see if this is this, you will see the emitted spectrum. And one characteristics of emission spectrum is it will see as bright lines. Remember, it will see as bright lines like this. See, it will see like bright lines like this, which is separated by dark spaces. Just imagine. This is just a dark space. Okay, this is just a dark space. The white, just imagine the white as dark. Then the spectrum like this. This is what? Bright colors. For example, if it is yellow color. If it is yellow color, then you know that this radiation is yellow. The wavelength is of yellow range, isn't it? Okay. Or if it is in the red color, you know it is in the wavelength of red range, isn't it? So in a dark space, you can have bright colors in it. So that is called as an emission spectrum. So in a dark, which is the two lines are separated by dark spaces. So that is called as an emission spectrum. You got it? The one which you see in your notebook, no? It's a barcode. Like, can I have a note? Yeah, let's see. Like this. like this, see, like the barcode in your notebook. Okay, that is like lines are there. So that is example of an emission spectrum. That is, bright lines are appeared on a dark background, or the two lines are separated by a dark space. So that is called as an emission spectrum. The radiation which gets emitted is recorded on a spectrum, spectrograph or spectrometer. This is called as an emission spectrum. Clear? Now what happens is, next is absorption spectrum. Okay, absorption spectrum. You know this is what? This is also called as line spectrum. See, these are lines, right? I told you. The same as when you call it the barcode. These are called as small lines. So this is called as line spectra. Okay, and for atomic spectra you call it as line spectra. That is, lines are emitted. So this is called as line spectra, atomic line spectra for hydrogen atom you call it as, when hydrogen is taken. Now in the case of hydrogen atom, what will happen? See, these type of lines will get in the hydrogen atom. Okay, that means it is not a continuous spectra like that is in the white light from Video, not a continuous but a discontinuous type like this. And this is called as the emission spectra, is called as the atomic spectra of hydrogen atom. That we will study later. Okay, in detail we can study. So this is the funda of what? Emission spectra, or you call it as line spectra. Okay, clear? Now we will come to the absorption spectra. You know, since it is absorbed, say if you absorb a radiation of having a frequency x, say if that radiation is absorbed, then it won't get emitted. Listen, you got that? If a certain frequency or certain wavelength radiation is absorbed by an atom, then that radiation is already absorbed. So while emitting or in that absorption spectra, you cannot see that line or that wavelength. Why? Because that is absorbed, isn't it? So in absorption spectra, listen, this is exactly the opposite, or if you say in the photograph, if you say negative, isn't it? The negative, and then first they will have the negative, then we will have their photographs, isn't it? Not the digital, the other one. Like that, this is the absorption spectra is exactly the negative effect of what? The emission spectra. Okay, now whatever is in the emission spectra, it is not seen. Only the absorbed spectra you can see. For example, mainly the absorption spectra is seen in continuous spectrum. When a white light, see, for example, in a white light you will get the whole colors. If you have a spectrograph, you will have the whole colors as Vibgeo, Vibgeo, right? Okay, see, this is Vibgeo. Now what happens in absorption spectra is, if, for example, if white light, okay, if a white light is passed through it, you will get a Vibgeo, continuous spectra. Now if this white light is passed through, I am telling an example, sodium chloride solution, aqueous solution, sodium chloride, what happens is, see, you will get a spectra. Now in this Vibgeo, listen, in the yellow region, this is continuous, correct? Only one yellow, this thing you see. But what happens in this spectrum is, it will get two lines like this. See, in the continuous spectrum, in the yellow region, if NaCl is there, depending on the substance is used here. If this white light is passed through an NaCl solution, that I am talking about it. If it is another thing, if it is hydrogen, it is different one. Okay, if it is thiosulfate, it is different one. So depending upon the solution which the white light is passed, you will get in the yellow region two wavelength. Okay, two wavelength in the region in the range of 5,900 and something, 80 and 86, 5,986. Say not approximate. I am saying only approximate, just for this concept. That is, two lines are seen in this continuous yellow region, which means that this is absorbed. This absorption takes place in the yellow region with 2 wavelengths of sodium. If sodium is taking, then you can say in yellow region there are 2 wavelengths which is for sodium, that is it is absorbed. Absorbed means it is not seen. So since it is absorbed, you can see only dark lines in that continuous spectra. You cannot see the yellow region as such. In that yellow region, 2 dark lines will be there. And the 2 dark lines corresponds to the wavelength of the sodium which is absorbed. That's what I said. If it is absorption, it is already absorbed. So why on emission it won't see? Because it's already absorbed. Isn't it? So that is a difference. Okay. That is exactly the photographic negative of this emission spectra is what is called as the absorption spectra. Clear? Now you know what is absorption spectra and what is emission spectra. Emission spectra is nothing but when the light is passed through any solution, from that solution whatever light of wavelength is emitted, that you will get in a spectroscope, spectrograph or spectrometer you will get. Okay, absorption means what? In a continuous spectrum like in VG or the visible region state, then if sodium chloride is used, then the sodium, there are 2 specific wavelengths, then that it will get absorbed. So since absorption takes place, in this spectrum you won't get that, you will get only a dark line which specifies that 2 wavelengths are absorbed by this solution or the light. In the atom is the absorption of radiation takes place there. So that is the main difference between the absorption spectra and the emission spectra. So hope you understood that concept of the absorption. See, if emission has to take place, absorption must be there. Definitely. Okay, so absorption spectrum is there. Then after absorption, if it goes to an excited state, it emits back, and that emission, if it is taken in a spectra, it is called as an emission spectra. So hope you are clear with that, right? Now, you will see more in detail about the atomic spectrum of hydrogen. Atomic spectrum of hydrogen is again a emission spectrum. Okay, it is again a discontinuous emission spectrum. Okay, now we will see what happens in this atomic spectra of hydrogen. Now, see, the hydrogen, when it is used in gas, when hydrogen gas is heated, listen, when hydrogen gas is heated, okay, when hydrogen gas is heated or irradiated by some means, what will happen? This gets excited. The hydrogen molecule, what will happen? The hydrogen molecule will get excited and form hydrogen atom, and when once it goes to an unstable level, it rebounds back or emit radiation and forms what? Emission spectra. That is, lines will be there for the hydrogen atom. That is the emission spectra of hydrogen. It is not a continuous spectra, but you will get dark lines, and the lines are separated by dark surfaces. What we have said in the emission spectra, say, but hydrogen gas. So when hydrogen gas is heated or irradiated, what happens? This will get excited, and what happens? The hydrogen molecule will form atoms. It gets dissociated to form atoms because it is atomic spectra, isn't it? This is a molecule. Now it gets excited to atoms, and then it will emit. Once it goes to excitation, you know, by absorbing some amount of energy you are giving here, then it is unstable, it will emit back, and this spectrum is there. So this is exactly, you call it as a line, isn't it? A line emission spectra. What is it? Line emission spectra. Correct? Okay. So this is line emission spectra. And you know, this line emission spectra is very, very important. Why? Because each element has got a unique line spectrum. Got it? Each element has got a unique line spectrum. It's atomic spectrum, whatever. Each element. So that is exactly the similar as our fingerprints. You know that every individual has got a unique fingerprint to identify. Like that, you can identify this different types of atoms or molecules or elements. So different types of elements you can verify, or you can found different types of elements by seeing this line spectrum, because each element has got its own unique line spectrum. That is very, very important. Okay, so that is, now we will see more about this hydrogen spectrum. As I already told you, when this hydrogen gas is heated or irradiated, it forms lines which is called as the line spectrum. Now, if in case of hydrogen, as you know, the hydrogen atoms get excited to form hydrogen molecules get excited to form hydrogen atoms, and these hydrogen atoms will emit radiations and form this emission spectrum. Now, in this emission spectra, while examining the emission spectra or on observing the emission spectra of hydrogen atom, it found that a series of lines are found in this hydrogen spectra. Not one line or two lines. There are a series of lines are found on observation or experimental observation of this hydrogen emission spectra or hydrogen line spectra or line emission spectra. Now we will talk about more of these different types of lines which we observe in the hydrogen spectra. Okay. Now the first scientist to observe these lines in the visible region, listen, the first scientist who observed the lines in this emission spectra of hydrogen, that is the line spectrum of the hydrogen, was a scientist called as a Swedish spectroscopist. That reminds me. The study of this emission spectra and absorption spectra is called as spectroscopy. What is it? Spectroscopy. It is again a branch of chemistry which deals with this spectroscopy. Okay, molecular spectroscopy, NMR spectroscopy, nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. So many are there inside this spectroscopy. Okay, so the study of emission and absorption spectra is called as the spectroscopy. Okay. Now, so the scientist who, this is a spectroscopist, okay, Swedish spectroscopist called as Balmer, or observe the lines in the visible region. You know, generally you can see, right? So the visible region, Balmer observed the certain lines in this spectrum, which he termed it as Balmer series. Okay, so he said it is said as Balmer series. And on experimental observation, he calculated the wave number of these spectral lines. This is spectral lines, no? These are spectral lines. I will draw it. So the wave number. You know what is wave number? Yes, 1 by lambda. Correct. So wave number of this line, he experimentally found to be as nu bar is equal to. He examined it. It comes to be true. Like nu bar of wavelength is equal to 109,678 or 677 into 1 by n1 is 2. That is 1 by 2 square minus 1 by n square. Listen carefully. I said there are so many spectral lines was there in the atomic spectrum. Now Balmer was the first to see the lines in the visible region, that is the visible region, and he named it as Balmer series because he introduced that, or he discovered that, and he made a mathematical expression which is in connection with the spectral lines. The wavelength, the wave number of the spectral lines, he found a mathematical expression to find out the wavelength of the spectral lines to be 109,678 or 677 into 1 by 2 square minus 1 by n square, where n is an integer starting from 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. And he found that this is full agreement with these lines. The wave number was in full agreement with the lines observed. Okay. Then, and this is called as a Rydberg constant. Since Rydberg has found it is called as a Rydberg constant. Okay, Rydberg constant. Okay, see, Rydberg was the spectroscopist. Okay, not Balmer. Rydberg was the spectroscopist who found out this relation. And this is called as Rydberg formula. Rydberg constant. So for Balmer series, it is 1 by 2 square minus 1 by n square. Okay. Now I will draw the spectrum, that is the line spectrum of hydrogen. Then you will understand what is this 2 square and n square. Okay. So if I want to draw it, listen. This is the energy level where n is equal to 1. The first level. Okay. And this is where n is equal to 2. And here n is equal to 3. Now here n is equal to 4. And here n is equal to 5. And up to here n is equal to infinity. Okay. And here we can have energy. Okay. We can have the energy of the series. And here the n is equal to infinity means the energy is equal to 0. That we will study later, the energy and all. Now what happens is, the Balmer, and we said that there are so many lines are observed in various regions of this EMR spectra. You know, there are various regions in EMR spectra like X-ray, then gamma ray, UV ray, then comes the visible, then IR, microwave, etc. Now in hydrogen spectra what happens is, first is this, from n is equal to 2 is n is equal to 1. That is the first series. Okay, is called as Lyman series. That is, a scientist called Lyman discovered the lines of this hydrogen spectra, and it was named after him. So it is called as the Lyman series. Okay. So it can be, see, for Lyman series, n is equal to 1. Okay. Now, from n is equal to 2, it can come to n is equal to 1. Correct? Now, from n is equal to 3, see, if the energy is absorbed to here, then it will bounce back here. Now, if the energy is absorbed by this difference in energy, it will come like this. Emission spectra, no. Emission spectra. If it is 3, it can come to 1. If it is 4, it can come to 4. And if it is from infinity, it can come to 1. So, for Lyman series, the n is what? 1, standard. Okay. Then, second is the Balmer, that is the visible region. And this is found in this is found in the UV region. It is found in the UV region. The Lyman series is found in UV region. Now comes the second line of series, which is called as the Balmer series. For that you got the nu bar expression. Okay. Now I will draw it for you. See, Balmer series means n is equal to 2. That is the second level. So the first type of transition is from third level to second level. That is the first transition. Because for Balmer series n is equal to 2. In the same way, from 3 to 2, 4 to 2, then 5 to 2, and from infinity to 2. So this is called as Balmer series. Correct? Balmer series. Understood? And Balmer series lies in, visible region, isn't it? This is ultraviolet region and this is visible region. Understood? Now comes the third series, which is called as, see, from now n is equal to 3. That means from 4 to 3, then 5 to 3, 6 to 3, and from infinity to 3. So that is called as Lyman, Balmer, Paschen series. Because scientist named Paschen discovered this line spectrum, so it is named after him, which is called as the Paschen series, where n is equal to 3. Correct? Then next comes the next thing, that is n is equal to 4. That is 5. 5 to 4, 6 to 4, 7 to 4, and infinity to 4. So this is called as Lyman, Balmer, Paschen bracket. Okay, bracket series. See, this is called as the bracket series. Okay, and then the next next term is n is equal to 5. So again I have to draw one more, that is 6, n is equal to 6. So first must be 6 to 5, then 7 to 5, 8 to 5 and from infinity to 5. So this is called as Pfund or simply Pfund series, P silent there, Pfund series. So again one more, not in a textbook but it is found out as Humphrey series, that is from 7 to 6, 8 to 6, 9 to 6 and infinity to 6, which is called as the Humphrey series. It is not in a textbook, you don't study that also. You have to study till 5 line series you have to study. That is Lyman in the UV region, Balmer in the visible region, Paschen, Brackett and Pfund. All the three are in the IR region or infrared region. And Humphrey is also in the infrared, but you don't need to study this Humphrey. You have to study only 5, Lyman, Balmer, Paschen, Brackett and Pfund. Now just see or observe this. N is equal to 1. Whatever transmission which is coming to 1 is called as N1, is called as Lyman series. When it is in N2, it is called as Balmer. N3, it is Paschen, and N4, Brackett, and N5, Pfund. So Rydberg has made a formula or a general formula for all these series. Okay, same as what Balmer does. Okay, so he said that you can calculate the nu bar of these various spectral lines by nu bar is equal to 109677, that is a Rydberg constant, into 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. See, a general formula which is applicable also for whom? The Balmer series. Okay. So I will prefer that you study this and then you can substitute the values. Okay. Now if you take the Lyman series, in the first series, N1 will be what? N1 is equal to 1 and N2 is equal to N1 plus 1. How much? That is N1 is equal to 1 and N2 is equal to 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. Okay. So that is the Lyman series. Now for Balmer series, N2 is fixed. See. In the case of all these 5 series, N1 is fixed. That you have to remember. See, N1 is fixed. N1 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. N2 is, if N1 is 1, N2 can be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5. And then next is what? Balmer series. Balmer series is, N1 is with how much? N1 is 2. Okay. Now what is N2? 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. Agreed? Now, for Paschen series, N1 is equal to 3. What is N2? 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. Correct? Now, now for Brackett series, N1 is equal to 4. N2 is equal to 5, 6, 7, etc. And the last Pfund series, N1 is equal to 5, N2 is equal to 6, 7, 8, etc. So, you got that point? Okay, that is plus 1. That is the integral or multiple of that. The integral. So this is how you found the nu bar. You know what is nu bar? The wavelength, inverse of wavelength. Okay, 1 by lambda. So nu bar is equal to the wave number of the spectral lines can be calculated by using this formula, which is given by the Rydberg, which is called as the Rydberg constant, and the unit is centimeter inverse. See, 109,678 or 677 into 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. So this is a brief explanation of the line spectra of hydrogen. You got that point clearly? All the series is all named after the scientist who discovered that. 5 series you have to study, and according to this you have to study the equation for the wave number. Clear? And you know that this each line spectrum of a given element is unique. For example, if you see this spectrum, you can very well say that this is the spectrum of hydrogen atom, because this contains so many series which is named after the scientist. And the wave number you can put it to get the value of various lines of nu bar. Like that, for every atoms it is there. But the line spectrum is very, very simple for a hydrogen atom. That is the next point. Or you can again The line spectrum is only described in terms of hydrogen atom because the hydrogen contains only one electron. So this is valid. This spectrum is valid only for a one electron system. When multiple electron comes, this becomes quite complex in nature. Okay, so this is very valid only for what? The one electron system, which is our hydrogen atom. Okay, or if you want one electron system, you can have hydrogen like species like lithium. Lithium it is 3. So it is Li3+. That's only one electron left. So in case of hydrogen or hydrogen like atoms, the spectra is valid. Okay. So multi electrons it becomes very complex. Okay. And next is, you know, the line emission spectra is unique for every element. For each element, the line spectra is unique. And the spectral lines shows a gradual. Okay, the spectral line will show a gradual variation in each element. Okay, now why this shows a gradual variation? Maybe because of the electronic configuration, isn't it? So that we will consider in the Bohr model for hydrogen. Okay, so this much is about a small description of how these lines are getting in this hydrogen atom. This is again an emission spectrum. This is again a line spectrum, you can call it as. This is a discontinuous spectrum. Why? Because emission spectrums are discontinuous in nature. So understood? Is it clear? Okay. Now we will move on to the Bohr model of atom for especially hydrogen. Okay. So next we will move on to the Bohr atomic model. Okay. First you have some introduction in the previous sessions, Niels Bohr. Now we will have a detailed discussion of Bohr atomic model for hydrogen atom. Okay. He was the first to give a quantitative expression for this atomic spectra of hydrogen. That is Niels Bohr, okay, in 1888. And he made some postulates for the atomic spectra of hydrogen. And you know what are the postulates of Bohr. Okay, so we will see the Bohr model. Now the first postulate for the Bohr model, as you all know that, he said the electrons are revolving round the nucleus in a circular path, isn't it? Okay, and he called it as stationary energy levels, isn't it? Stationary energy levels, and he called it as orbits. And that orbits are having fixed energy, okay, fixed energy and fixed radius. See, the electrons are revolving in a circular orbit or energy, stationary energy state, which are having a fixed energy and fixed radius. That was the first Bohr postulate. Okay. You know the electrons are revolving in concentric circles, and he called it as stationary energy levels. Okay. Now the second postulate which he said was, while revolving round the nucleus or while revolving round in this specified orbit or stationary energy levels, no energy is emitted. That is the second point. Okay. No energy is released or emitted while revolving round the nucleus. That is, the electrons does not emit energy. That was the drawback of Rutherford, isn't it? He cannot explain the point that the atoms, the stability of the atom. What he said, according to the classical physics, according to James Maxwell, what he said, whenever a charged particle is revolving round and on an acceleration, what will happen? It will emit energy and at last it will fall into the nucleus, which he cannot explain. So here Bohr explained that in a very well way. no energy is emitted while revolving in a stationary orbit. But at the same time he said, when an electron absorbs a particular amount of energy, listen, when an electron absorbs a particular amount of energy, then it will go into a higher energy level, what we said earlier, and you know the higher energy level is unstable, or an excited state it is unstable. So what will happen? It will bounce back to its original level or the ground level. Then what happens? Energy radiation happens in the form of energy. So while going from ground to excited, from excited to ground state, energy is emitted. First he said that no energy is emitted while it is revolving round a stationary orbit. But when an energy absorbs a particular amount, it will go to a higher energy level. Then it comes back to its original level, it will emit radiation or it will emit energy. But that energy is not in a continuous manner. Get the point? The energy which is emitted is not in a continuous manner. Here the particle nature comes into picture. Whether it was in a continuous manner, then we can say it is only a wave. But no, the energy is emitted as packets of energy or quanta of energy and not in a continuous manner. Okay, so that is here the Bohr was saying. That is the second postulate of Bohr. You got it? Okay. Now the third, so no energy is emitted, but the energy can be emitted if it is going from it is emitting from an excited state to a ground level, then the energy is emitted. But in a stationary state, that's the point. In a stationary level, energy level, no energy is emitted. See the difference? Okay. Now the third postulate what he was telling is, which is even called as the Bohr frequency rule. What is it? Bohr frequency rule. Now you will see what is this Bohr frequency rule. I already said, see, if this is energy level 1, it is a ground state. Okay, now this is the excited state E2. Now I said, first this gets absorbed and comes to E2. Then from E2 being unstable, it will come E1. Correct? Now when it comes from E2 to E1, the energy is released. In that case, we can say E2 minus E1. What is E2 minus E1? E2 minus E1 we will call it as difference in energy. Correct? Then we can say the frequency of radiation is equal to, nu is equal to delta E by H. How you got it? Simple. E is equal to H nu. Black body radiation you have studied as quanta. As we said, the energy is emitting not in a continuous manner but in packets of energy or quantum of energy. Isn't it? Here the quantization concept is there. So we can have the frequency as the change in energy. So what is it? It is E2 minus E1 by H. H is Planck's constant. You know the value, 6.6 into 10 raised to minus 34 Joule second. So this is how you calculate the frequency, which is called as a Bohr frequency rule. Understood? Okay. Now coming to the third postulates of Bohr. Fourth postulate of Bohr. So is it clear? First one what? The orbits are revolving around in circular this thing having a fixed energy and radius. Second is no energy is emitted while it is revolving in a stationary orbit, but when it gets to excited, it comes back, it will emit energy but not in a continuous form but in discrete amount or quanta of energy, H nu. So that is the Bohr frequency rule. If it gets emit radiation from E2 to E1, you can have the frequency as delta E by H or E2 minus E1 by H. That is delta is equal to E2 minus E1. Clear? Now we will see the fourth postulate. Okay, this These are important thing. There is a fourth postulate. Now, the fourth postulate states that it is a very, very important postulate. Okay. What he said is, the energy can revolve around the orbit only when, listen, the electron can revolve around this orbit, is stationary level or stationary orbit, only when the angular momentum of the electron, study MVR, the angular momentum of the electron is equal to an integral multiple of h by 2 pi. Integral multiple means, for the first shell, you have studied in Bohr, right? K, L, M, N, isn't it? K, L, M, N. If n is equal to 1 K, n is equal to 2 L, n is equal to 3 M, n is equal to 4 N. So, he says that this is a very, very important point. That is, here the quantization concept is there. It is not continuously, it cannot move. The electron can revolve in that orbit only if the angular momentum of that electron, that is MVR, or we represent that L intensity, MVR is equal to an integral multiple of h by 2 pi, which means that the electrons cannot jump from one orbit to another orbit in a continuous manner. Only if the angular momentum is an integral multiple of this h by 2 pi, then only the electrons can revolve in this orbit. For example, if it is in the first orbit, n is equal to 1, the electrons in this orbit should have an angular momentum equal to h by 2 pi, correct? Say, if it is n is equal to 2, then in this orbit, if an electron wants to revolve, then this angular momentum in this orbit, the electron of this orbit will be equal to 2 into h by 2 pi, correct? Now in the third shell, 3 into h by 2 pi. Now fourth shell, 4 into h by 2 pi. So that is the explanation. That is, the angular momentum of an electron revolving in each orbit must be equal to an integral multiple of h by 2 pi, where n is an integer, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So these are the 4 important postulates by which Bohr atomic model was set up. Okay, so this is about the 4 postulates. Now, next session we will see about the how you find out the energy of an electron in a radius, the radius of an atom, then the velocity of an electron. All that we will study in the next session. So, till now we read the textbook. Very important absorption spectrum and emission spectrum, and also the postulates of the Bohr model and the line spectrum of hydrogen atom. How you will calculate the wave number mu bar. Okay, so till then, thank you.